The ish always makes me laugh.
And it's so pretty. A new intro for a new season.
That's right. I love that.
We're officially calling our new times seasons. We have seasons now, Mandi. It's not just like taking breaks and go. I can't believe it's been 8 seasons of Doodle and Chat. I think this is our 3rd together.
This is our 3rd together,
which is
8
crazy.
seasons. That makes us sound fancy.
It does. And 236 episones, which is crazy.
Oh my goodness.
So I can't believe it's been that long. And Anne's here this morning with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Anne.
One of our OG Doodle and Chatters. And we're excited too. So we have got a new intro, we got a new season, and we're trying a new monthly activity. So season 5 or 6 and 7, we did classy activities, which were 1-pagers. They're in all the links to those are in the show notes. If anybody ever is looking for something to try. But you and I were talking about, and I'm like, let's try an as seen on. And yes. I don't know if that's a name from social media that I picked up, or maybe it was just like our age. Because you remember I was trying to describe to Annabeth like how you'd go to the store and you'd see the
as you're still in. So like I think like Walmart has a section of as seen on TV products.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think they're still there. I mean, yes, it probably dates us a little bit, but
we were also giggling at like how many, like, I don't know about you, but like I have a whole section of saved things that are just like Doodle and Chat ideas, or someday I'll try this idea. And I was like, what if we take one of those ideas every month and try those? And then also you had mentioned too, let's see if it applies to the classroom. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But we also kind of liked the idea of like taking ideas that we see out in the world and seeing if they'll apply to our classroom, because sometimes just a little bit of a different thought or a conversation can offer a new insight on an activity. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I could try that in my classroom.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think so.
So do you want to introduce the activity, why I fiddle with technology and try to bring it up on the screen?
You bet. So, and now the name of it has already left me. So you will have to tell me
exactly. So I saw this on Instagram. It's from an educator named Jessica Hamilton, Miss Hamilton's classroom. I'm going to pull that up, and it's called Split Personality. Am I sharing?
Yeah, split personality, absolutely. And so she actually talks about in her post about how this is kind of an early finisher activity that she offers in her classroom. And she does offer like instructions for it if you want to go there. We are going to look at this and we're going to do kind of our own version of it. And Carrie and I both decided not to use our face today. And so we're going to try this. I'm actually going to try this in Canva to see if I can't do something similar to it in Canva. Although I know I have done something like this in Google Drawing. So you can definitely use Google Drawing as a tool for this as well. Or a Google slide will also do the same thing for it. And then I think Carrie's going to just print hers out and do it that way.
Yes. So I'll go ahead and turn our cameras on. I'll stop sharing this and we'll turn our cameras on. And I was considering this as not an early finish activity. I kind of was thinking, there's my Jody. If Jody could talk, she'd be like, Mom, my face is too big and you didn't ask me for consent to share.
Oh, Jody.
Anyways, I actually think of this as an activity. And I almost think of this as a great idea for either a new semester or a new quarter or even a new school year, where you could get to know your students. Because while Jessica is an art teacher, and I'll tell you, art teachers have some really fantastic activities that are applicable to a lot of what we do with sketchnoting, especially.
Yes.
You saw on Jessica, she was really focusing on pattern practice, I'm guessing. I'm not an art teacher, so I don't know what patterns, and reminded me a lot of Zentangles, right?
Yes,
Whereas did. I look at what Jessica did and I thought, oh my gosh, you could cut up pieces of your face with paper and add images and probably words.
Yep.
So that's how I kind of think about this. So I say that maybe we dive into this activity. I've been thinking about this activity for a while. And then we start to just talk about what ideas pop into our head.
I think I like it. I like
Okay.
it. So I built a new entertainment center this summer. This was my vacation activity. So that's what I'm using. And I am going to go ahead and turn it black and white here in Canva in a second. But yeah, that's the activity, or that's the picture that I chose to use because I love it. I think it's really fun. It brings me joy every day to look at that entertainment
Well,
center.
you were really proud of it because you had worked hard for the money that bought it also.
I did, yes. So there was the, financial impact of that, but yes, it was something I had wanted for a long time, and my extra duty responsibilities at my second job,
Yes.
allowed me to purchase that, so
Awesome. So people who are doing this, you're using Canva.
yes,
You said you've also done it in Google Drawing.
I have.
Do you have did you ever write a post on it? Do you remember?
I didn't write a post on it,
Okay,
but
no
I
pressure.
do
So
have some pictures that I have done kind of like this.
mhm, it's okay.
I also did it in an Adobe. So I did this in Adobe and I couldn't remember which Adobe it was. I
Yeah,
think it was before Adobe switched over,
yeah,
but it's easy to do. I
yeah,
do have some examples though that I can share from Google Drawing. I know I kept those.
yeah. Well, on that note, to think about that. So if you think about the task and then you think about technology that's available to us, our Microsoft friends could use Adobe. It's
Yes,
very applicable, right? So we've got Canva. You and
absolutely.
I are Canva people. My
Yeah.
school uses Canva. Google Drawings, you can,
Yes.
fiddle with that. I'm certain you could do something like this in slides as well if you were you just thought about it a little bit differently, right?
Well, yeah, so PowerPoint also has some really cool
Sure.
features. I think you could probably do something similar in PowerPoint.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And then like Explain Everything is a great app. I
Yeah.
don't know enough about Book Creator, but maybe, things like that. So there's
I don't
probably,
either, but yeah.
yeah. But if you're just gonna, go old school paper and pencil, I have like you can see I printed out a picture of my cat. But I also brought some extra paper too, because I was trying to think about how Jessica had done the activity. It really looked like she tore pieces of paper out. I was also thinking of all of us. I think Anne can relate because I know Anne just well enough to think that she might be able to relate, and you too. But all of us who have saved up all that old scrapbooking paper from back in the day,
Yep.
in my mind, that would also make great tearing
Yeah.
out. I also thought like newspaper with paper on top of it might be fun.
Ooh, that would be cool. I think I would love like newspapers, or sometimes you can get those closeout books that the
Yes.
library has, and you could tear some of those book
Yes.
out.
Yes. So I had thought about it. I'm like, am I going to draw over this? And I looked at Jessica's thing again, and the creator of the split personality activity. And no, she was really tearing out paper. And I was also thinking, like, what a great sensory experience,
Yes.
Can you imagine your classroom? You're just sitting there like,
Yep.
but how fun. So I've got a picture, a printed out picture, paper. I'm going to have scissors and glue, and then markers. And I think that's all you really need for this activity.
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited. Are we
Okay.
ready?
I think we're ready.
And I
Yeah.
also think I'm going to cut out Jody's body and probably glue it on paper so I have more white space. No, maybe not. I don't think I need to, right? I could just work off of this, right?
You could. I'm going to see if background remover, because my image is white and I don't know what background remover is going to do for this. So we're going to try it.
Maybe I will cut out Jody. Because I also, we talked about beginning of the school year thing. I also think sometimes these new activities, we want to get to know our kids, but I always like to sneak in some skills that, can my kids do it? Like we're cutting, right?
Yeah.
And not every kid's we've talked about this before. I know we have, because you mentioned your high schoolers. But it's always good to see like who can cut, who can't. If they can't cut, can they ask for help? And I know it sounds silly, but it's like sometimes, and then once you've done a cutting activity, then like, okay, we're not doing a cutting activity again. Or I'll have things cut out for them.
I am always completely shocked, and I know I shouldn't be, but I am always completely shocked when my kids can't cut in high school.
Yeah.
And when I say can't cut, like we're talking a straight line. Like we're not talking about cutting Jody's face out. We're talking about, can you cut this straight line? And they struggle. And I know the first couple of times I was like, "What is happening?" And then I just realized some people either, like, in their formative years,
Yeah.
they just didn't have to do that motor skill, or some of them have just really struggled with that motor skill. And so practicing that's not a bad thing even in high school. It's
Yeah,
okay
or even, like, that
to
puts perspective too, like, you think, I think sometimes we just assume that kids have always been available for learning, but
Yeah,
even at younger years, like what you said, like, you don't know all the way back to their beginning years what availability they had to learn.
right.
Maybe there was something they struggled with when the cutting was happening, you know?
Cutting was happening, yes. Absolutely. I like when you said that, but it's true. When cutting was happening. Ooh, okay, okay.
Oh, I like that. Oh, you're playing with all the sepas?
I am, just to see, I just wanted a black and white version
Yeah,
so I can put some color on top of it.
absolutely.
So, I did go ahead and remove the background on it, although my chair in front is just gonna have to be there, and that's fine. I might even remove that, like, just cover it up here in just a second, but
I think I'm gonna cut off Jody's body. Sorry, Jody. Thought about just doing her head. I think I'll just let her lay there like that. That's cute. All right. Oh, Jody, you're just immortalized. Did I say immortalized? Immortalized? I don't know what the word is. I'm saying it wrong. I'm stopping.
and I'm just done.
And I'm done. My mom-isms, or like as we call it, the Carrie-isms lately have just been whoo.
Yeah.
They're just Annabeth is like, what word are you talking about, Mom?
Yeah.
I think it's probably a little bit of like perimenopausal brain, and then it's also just like that is just who I am, you know?
Yep. Girl,
Um,
I am 100% with you on all of that.
so, but I just am embracing it. So, you know.
So I don't know if I'm gonna be able, because my perfectionist brain, it might struggle with this activity just a little bit in Canvas. So
You mean finding things to overlay? So, like when I made the sample,
mhm.
um, I just searched up ripped or torn paper, and that
Okay.
gave me some nice options.
Nice.
And you can even search by like shape too, which was nice.
Yeah, and I was searching by shape. So what I was thinking about doing was using the photo, like the frames
Oh,
portion, and then you could fill it with whatever designs you wanted to.
yes. I'm gonna start tearing. Here we go. I need a triangle. Oh, this is kind of fun.
So this is like a collage activity.
It is kind of, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think am I gonna do colors? Yeah, let's do some colors. Do some patterns.
Oh my goodness, this is like a photo of something. That's fun. It's like a photo of a mountain.
Oh. Well, I kind of like the activity that's giving you. It's like it's forcing you to be kind of explorative.
Yeah.
Which is also really good because you know, sometimes kids even have trouble doing that, like letting loose.
Well, and this is hard for me. This is actually challenging my brain a little bit.
I think I'm gonna color a piece of paper this time, and then maybe I'll tear it first and then color it. Because I really like that layering that Jessica had on her. I'm assuming that's her face. Oopsies. That wasn't planned. Oh, maybe it was. So that, color that, and then or maybe that on that. Oopsies. Oops. Okay. I'm gonna use this and then Crayola so it doesn't go through. What color do I want to use?
Oh, I love it.
Speaking of Crayola, for our friends that live near a Meyer, they are having their school supply sale. Crayola markers by the box are $1 each.
Oh my goodness.
I might have bought the maximum amount that I was allowed to buy.
So you were talking about scrapbook papers?
Yes.
Look, like there's different patterns and stuff.
Yes, I saw those too when I was working in Canva.
Yeah.
And so speaking of, you know, because you're doing Canva, I made the sample for the thumbnail in Canva, and all those doodles are, if you just search doodles in Canva for people who may have students who don't want to draw, it gives you some really cute doodle-like, you know, images. I'm going to color my fingers and then touch my face. That's wrong because we don't need purple on my nose. All right, let's see how this goes. I think, you know, you and I joked about trying these activities and how much fun it was going to be and how, you know, it'll be this learning experience and we know that it'll be uncomfortable, but I always forget how uncomfortable it is and how it feels to be uncomfortable until we're uncomfortable.
Right. So
not a fun feeling, Mandi.
I know. I have a plant sitting up there that I wanted to keep. And so I put the plant in front of it.
I also kind of appreciate the messy feeling of this, and it's a little uncomfortable. It's not, I'm not 100% loving it, but I appreciate it also.
Same. Now, here's the thing. The activity that she shared with the Zentangles,
yeah,
probably would have been right up my alley. And like I said, I've kind of done something like that before in Google Drawing. So I think this for me is a better stretch.
So you said when, because I just looked at the image, read what she posted on the thing, and so you dove into the post, which I did link the Instagram post in our show notes for anybody who wants to explore it. And so she wrote a blog post about it.
Even just looking at that image, you can, like I said, you can do something very similar in Google Drawing, which is where I have utilized that before. And I think taking a photo like that, and so in my mind, and maybe this was not how it worked, but in my mind, you would like trace the photo behind it. So if you notice, like her hair, it still followed like the basic pattern.
Oh,
Her face, So it was just like one of those line art drawings, and then she went back and added the Zentangles to it, which to me would have been incredibly fun.
So
So also
you
something I probably could do in Procreate too, like just as
yes.
a fun, relaxing
So
activity.
you imagine that she kind of like, let's see if I can like she did like this, you mean?
Yes,
Oh.
and then she like maybe even created the whole face and then just tore pieces out and overlaid it.
Oh, well, let's give that a try. I didn't even think about that. I thought she was just willy-nilly did because that's what an art teacher is gonna do. I'm joking. I'm being sarcastic because
Yeah,
that's
no,
not what
I
they
know.
do.
But I really do think that she created what I call them line art drawings of the image and just the basic outline. So you've seen those photos, like you'll see them as wedding photos where they just do the basic outline of the person. Have you seen those?
Yes.
Um, let me see if I can find an example and I'll just post it in the
I think I know what you're talking about. It's like the Ted Lasso ones where you see that they're just the head
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not the whole detailed person. All right, let's do some Zentangling, Jody.
Um There is a person that I follow that I absolutely love, and I always pronounce her name wrong. Emma, I think it's Cotier, Kotier, and she has actually done a lot of these. She does this in her classroom with her students, and what you get from students is absolutely amazing.
Well, I might have to explore it a little bit more than just winging it next for if I'm going to do it in the classroom. But I do like this idea. I like this idea of trying this with something that we know, getting like an idea or at least setting like a standard of like what we want it to be like.
Yeah.
And then I really, really, really like the idea once I mastered this, the idea of then taking these pieces and making this a sketch note, like more words and
Yes.
images, because I think taking a picture of anything in the world or anything in your classroom, any content, and then tearing it up and detailing like this is fun.
Yes.
And it could be a great way for kids to sketch note in a different way.
Well, and so imagine like taking your cat, and if you are doing a poetry unit, let's say, and you could have them like do the line art drawing and then put the words inside of the sections that you're making in your line art drawing and then tear that and put that in. It's like your poem becomes part of the picture.
Yeah.
Like, that was the first thing I thought of when I saw her post. I was like, "Oh my goodness, I would love to do poetry with that or write a short story like that using words and images on
Yeah.
top of the photo."
Yeah.
I think that would be super, super duper exciting.
Or I was even thinking like any social studies lesson, taking that big picture idea from the topic
Yeah.
and then adding this element to it. Could be a great review. Or you could take the picture of the thing the students are going to learn about, do all this pre-work and leave things blank, and then as they're learning about it, they could
Fill in.
add to it.
Yeah. I love old newsprint.
Yeah, old newsprint as a background to this would be so good. Actually, you know what? I have a book. Let me try it. I have a book that we use something. I forget what we did. We did blackout poetry. We did blackout poetry with Amy DeFreeze that one time.
Yes.
So now that my table's clean, I have things. Okay, so I have a book.
You
So are you imagining I just cut this out like to fit where Jody is somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay. And then
just tear it out. Yeah.
and then just maybe a piece of paper over it or draw on it, you think? What do you think?
Um, both, either. No, really, like, you could use that as the background, and then you could do, like, the Zentangles on top of it if you wanted, or you could just have that and, cut another piece and layer the Zentangle on top of it, like, I don't know, my head's kind of going all over the place right now because of the possibility swirling in there, which happens to me sometimes.
Good. Yay.
Yeah.
Success then.
Success, that is correct.
I'm a little uncomfortable with how not sexy this is, but I'm okay with it also because it's the first time, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I almost feel like you could cover the whole darn thing with this stuff.
I think you could too. And then if you wanted, you could go back on top and add even more.
Yeah.
Like you could add your lines back in.
Oh, Lord. I'm a terrible ripper. Oh, goodness.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, goodness. Not shabby.
Cute.
Yeah.
No.
What kind of... Okay, I see the benefit of this pattern background. I mean, that just is next level.
Yeah. That's fun.
So fun. Oh my gosh, I just had an idea. I'm always looking for new ways for my students to we do independent silent reading every day because it's just, we all know why it's good. It's
Mhm.
good stuff. And I'm generally pretty laxed about it. I might check in with my students and just ask them about the book they're reading, but I try to keep it pretty low key and low stakes so that they feel more encouraged to read because they tend not to want to do it. But I was thinking of how fun it would be to take the book cover.
Oh, I like that.
And then I could even pre-cut up pieces for the book, or maybe it's a blank book cover, and then
Yeah.
I could cut up the book in pieces or tear it
Yeah.
up, and then they could glue it on and then write a word that they read about or something. I don't know. Doesn't that sound like fun?
Yeah, it does sound like fun. I
And
think
then when they're done with the book, it would be all covered, but it would be
everything about the book.
yeah, it's inverse, right? So there's just a blank rectangle, and then the book pieces are the ones I pre-prep for them. They would glue it on maybe every week or whatever, 2 or 3, how many days they read, and then they could write 1 or 2 words about what they thought about the book. The book cover. Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm going to do more book pages because this is fun. I mean, yeah. I don't want to cover up the doders. Okay, I'm absolutely in love. It's okay. I love you, Jody. I'm absolutely in love with the book pieces. Like
Yeah. I think that's a really cool idea.
Oh, you know what else you could use? Is all that printer things that people print out from the printers, like the school printer.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can ask your tech person for that.
Like
And
all of we have a recycle box where if somebody screws something up, they just toss it in the recycle box.
Right, but you could take the recycle box and go through and get all like the essays and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oopsies. Making her a little crown.
Oh,
because she's a princess.
she's a princess.
Got everybody whipped.
That's a great crown. I love it.
What's that?
I said it's a cute crown. I love it.
Thank you. I would say that, like, yeah, I had to develop my tearing skills.
Yes.
I thought it would be really easy to tear really pretty pieces of paper. It is not.
No, tearing is more difficult.
Yes.
Than you would think. Yes.
Oh dear. I tried a star. It failed. Oh, it's okay. You know who I would love to see what they do with this idea too is James Allen.
Yes.
Stress doodles.
Yes. Oh yeah, just taking a photo and doing one of his stress doodles on top of it.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah. Are you doing like newspaper print on top of it? I'm going to zoom in on you. I love it.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, that's so fun. I definitely found my mojo when I went to the book.
Oh, good. Okay.
I feel like that. Yeah. Like, I feel like that definitely gave me, I don't know, cuteness or something to it. I want to redo my other pieces, but well, I can layer.
I honestly, after I was like, I'm just going to start throwing some things up here. And there's a TV in the middle, so I put my own image there. Where the TV was at?
Oopsies. See how that goes. Let's do more. Oh, I did not like that. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm committed. Darn it. Oh, well.
So I would also like to point out that we started with the same activity and we came up with 2 very different products, and I love that too.
We did.
Because honestly, in your classroom, we've been having a lot of conversations lately about how important creativity is in the process of learning. It's actually one of those critical thinking skills that we don't think about as a critical thinking skill, because in order for somebody to be creative, they have to think about things in a way that other people may not think about things. And we want to promote that way of thinking. And we take that out sometimes of our schools.
Yeah, especially with the rush to get curriculum taught or
Right.
standards met.
And one of the conversations that I've had recently has been about we had a survey of our community in my current school district, and they rank things, and of the priorities that they ranked, here's what I want my student to get out of school. Content knowledge was last. Now they ranked it as a priority.
Yeah.
But it was the lowest priority. They wanted their students to interact well with others. They wanted their students to be able to solve problems. Like, they went through all of these other things. Knowing the content was their last priority. And it has really made me rethink. We spend so much time on content knowledge that's available everywhere. You can find content knowledge anywhere. But do we talk about how to use it? Where we find it? When do we need to find it? Once we find it, how do we apply it? Can we think of a different idea based on what somebody else has talked about? Like, we just don't. That's how you grow and improve.
Yeah.
And I hope we are at a point where we're going to start thinking about things like that differently. And creativity is so very important. We have to stop stripping that away from people, because I think we're all born with it. I think we all have that ability to think, and then we socialize them in school. I don't know if socialize is the right word, but we school it out of them.
Or we teach them the game of school too much.
We do.
versus teaching them how to think, how to think about, I was like metacognition, right? How to think about their thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you and I absolutely agree with you. That's like one of the core like beliefs that I have as a teacher who, provides supports and services to students who have IEPs is my student will learn to read one day with the right amount of or to their ability, right? With the right amount of supports and services and programs and this and that. But in the meanwhile, I need to teach them how to be a thinker, an advocate, a problem solver. Because if they can't do that, it doesn't matter when they read at their potential or how high they read. If they can't do those other things, then nothing's accessible, right?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. That's the other thing that I have been, we're getting a new behavior management framework, which I actually really like this one. I won't say the name, but I actually really like this one. But one of the things that I have challenged my teachers to think about is how we ask our kids to think critically. And one of the things that happens when kids think critically is they challenge, and not to see the challenge as I'm being rude, I'm being not willing, to participate, but seeing that as you're critically thinking, how can we answer their questions? How can we address the challenge that they're giving us? Because they're thinking about it saying, for whatever reason, I have questions about this.
Right.
And maybe it's just teaching them how to voice those questions in a better way. But how can we use that? Because if we're asking kids to think critically, they're not just going to sit back and do everything you tell them to do because they're thinking critically about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, a lot of deep thoughts for me lately as we've gone through some of these different programs that we're going through, and how we can look at kids a little bit differently.
No, I think that's a great point. There are times when there are years when I spend a lot of time with some students, teaching them how to question me, ask me the question, because they're just so scared of not being compliant. And
Yes,
it's different to be in a classroom where asking or questioning your teacher or questioning their things or why we're doing stuff is not always welcome. Like I want to be a good kid and do what I'm supposed to.
right.
But we really want kids that question stuff.
Yeah.
And it's hard though, as a teacher, to have kids like that.
It is.
It's easier to have the ones that do everything they're supposed to. Like they're,
Yes, it is. And I have always had, when I was in the classroom, I had a policy on any homework assignment or assessment that if you disagree with how I scored something, and this is whether I was in the English classroom or the math classroom, because I did this in both, come talk to me about it. Tell me why you think this is scored in a way that you disagree with. Let's have that conversation. Sometimes I would agree with them and say, completely understand where you're coming from. Let's adjust these points, because you just never know the perspective that somebody's bringing. And then sometimes I'm like, well, thank you for explaining. Here's why your thought process wasn't fitting what we needed to do. But that conversation allowed them to, first of all, defend their belief and why they thought it was right, which I think is so very important. If you're going to believe something, be able to defend why you believe that, and then be able to clearly communicate that with somebody, and then also be able to work through whatever the end result is. Like, it's all of those life skills that we're wanting students to have, not just knowledge skills.
I agree. And I think that also just goes to like the activities, and I'll just pitch Doodle and Chat. Like that goes to every activity that we have here. They kind of facilitate that idea that like Mandi, why did you put breathe on your console? That doesn't make sense to me. But you then, I mean, I probably wouldn't say that doesn't make sense to me. I might think that, but I would ask you, but like it offers conversations that we all can create differently. Like you and I took the same activity.
Same exact activity.
And did it completely different.
We did.
And it's okay. And that's exactly what you were talking about.
Yes.
Those kind of things.
Yes.
Yeah. This was so much fun. I have such a mess right now. Like, but I feel like tearing paper up. Like I have such a mess. Tearing paper up with students and sitting there and talking and having conversations about stuff,
Yours has a very Picasso feel about it, and I am here for it.
I love yours too. It has very scrapbooky feel, but also, digital. I just, we'll zoom in. Let's zoom in on each of ours, and so people can see. And I also think this was kind of what Jessica was getting at, but it's also not. And I'm down for that as well.
And like we said, she offers.
Poor Jody.
Jody, I love you. Hey, kitty.
And I also just really love, I love and hate the feeling of uncomfortable, how uncomfortable this was for me. Like, it took me a good 30 minutes to kind of get my mojo going on this activity,
Yes, it did. And also good for us to sit in that and realize that sometimes we ask our students to do things that they are uncomfortable with, and they're not starting because they don't want to. They're not starting because they don't know how.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also feel like this might even, like, to that note, I was even thinking we probably could take a picture of the classroom and do it together with students.
Yeah.
They could add a piece of them. They could add a piece of themselves to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be fun. Yeah. So just a really fun activity. Again, we tried, this is Doodle and Chat. And we, as seen on Instagram, we tried Jessica Hamilton's split personality activity. The link to that post on Instagram that kind of inspired us is in the show notes. So we welcome you to check it out. And Mandi and I would love to see your version of it. So if you were here with us today, or you're joining us later and you decide to try out split personality, snap a picture of your Doodle and Chat and share it out on social media with hashtag Doodle and Chat, so Mandi and I can see all the fun that you had with us. And then until next time, we will see everybody back here next Saturday at 9:33-ish Central Standard Time. That is August 10th, when Mandi and I see if we can survive the bowl that knows. We're going to fill the bowl that knows with questions we've asked previous friends, and we're going to see how we do on the bowl.
And if you join us, you can see how you do too. So
yeah, that would be fun. The more people that join us, we can pull questions and ask our audience as well. That would be super fun. That's it.
That is it. Yay.
Happy Saturday.
See you guys next week.
All right, bye.